Hi, my name is Haley Gillespie, and this is my case study presentation. I had the awesome experience to be able to interview my dear friend Fernando. Fernando is native to Brazil. He was born and raised in Brazil, and something that kind of makes his experience a little more unique was he had the opportunity to go to school in Brazil his whole life, from kindergarten through high school. And his first experience in education in America was attending BYU Idaho. So it was really cool just to hear his experiences and what he went through in that transition. And something that I love that he always told me is that he never had like a negative thing to say about his transition here. How the teachers were amazing, the people were amazing and accepting. Um, and that really stuck out to me, and I really wanted to get to know more as to what made his experience so easy, and like what the educators and community did to make him feel that way. So kind of my main idea and purpose of this interview was to just really sit down with Fernando and ask him like what it's like to be part of a diverse population in schools in the United States, because that's something I've never had to deal with, as well as what it's like for the individual who is of the diverse population. I think it's really good as a future educator to put yourself in your students' shoes and to imagine what it's like to be the only one of your culture, to be the only one who doesn't really know English. I think it can really make you a better teacher if you put yourself in those situations so you can better reach out to your students. Which kind of brought me to my purpose of the interview, was to just overall become more educated as a future educator on this diverse population, and how to avoid any previous biases that could be present in myself or in others, so I can just be a better teacher all around, to have this knowledge for when, if I'm ever in that situation, I can be the best I can be. So just a little introduction on Fernando. He was born in Fortaleza, Brazil. He's 22 now. He attended high school in Brazil, elementary school, middle school. He attended it all, and so I think this is kind of what makes his experience a little more unique. Is he grew up in Brazil and attended school in America, a college in America, which a lot of people I've heard moved when they were kids, and which made their transition a lot harder. But I think because he came at such an older age, it was easier for him to adjust here. Also, something unique about him is he had the opportunity to move to America with his family. His dad found a great opportunity for work here in Utah. And so when he was 17, his family packed up and they moved to Utah. They were really fortunate, and something cool. They had friends who had previously lived in Brazil and also had moved to Utah a few years prior. So they did have a good friendship and a good connection in Utah when they got there, which was so helpful for them. He did grow up in the church. He served his mission in Oregon, which obviously helped with his English. And he is fluent in both Portuguese and English. Part of it being why is his dad served in the States. He served in Georgia. And so all growing up, his dad talked to him and his siblings in English and Portuguese, so they can become more educated. He said that his dad always told them growing up that if they want to be successful, it'd be really important for them to learn English, which actually made his transition here so much easier than coming with little to no knowledge of English. So again, as I was saying, Fernando really had nothing negative to say about his transition here to America, and I really wanted to dive into why is that? What made your experience so easy, or what made it so enjoyable and not stressful and lonely? And he gave me some tips in the interview, as well as I picked up on some things, did some research, and I came up with some recommended strategies. So the first one is helping because you want to. Look, a kid can feel when a teacher is helping you because they have to and because it's literally their job to help you, or if they're helping you because they genuinely care about your success and your growth. And I think it's so important as a future educator to make sure that you're always making your student feel like you actually legitimately care about their growth and their progression and their success, because that'll just help them in the long run. Fernando told me that he just had so many teachers that believed in him and helped him because they wanted to. They cared about his success, and that was just like a huge factor for him. And then my next two is getting to know your culture so you can share it with others, as well as getting to know your students' culture and background, and sharing that as well. After doing some research, I did find out that these are two very, very important factors into making your diverse student feel more accepted and welcomed. As you share your culture and about their culture, it just creates a more open environment, and accepting, and just a better environment for all because you're learning together. Another one that's important is change teaching methods where it is needed. As an educator, it's your job to teach these students, and if there's something you're doing that is not reaching your diverse student, then it's really important to make accommodations and to cater to the student who isn't learning the way you're teaching or who needs a little extra help, just to really help them out and focus on what they need, and execute that with them. Again, another super, super important one that Fernando mentioned many times is build relationships. Build them with teacher and student relationships or friend on friend. Like, relationships is everything. When a student feels like they're accepted and that there is help available to them, it just makes them way more successful in school. And the last one is just give freedom and flexibility. Again, these students aren't going to be on the same level, and they're not expected to be. And so it's just very important to provide that freedom and flexibility to lesson plans and to tests and quizzes, to personally cater to these students and what they're needing. And then lastly, I just learned a lot from this interview and from my research on this case study, that schools have great programs implemented for diverse populations, and great hacks and help and advice. If you ever need help, there's just so much examples out there that you could be using in your future classrooms. I also learned that schools are different in Brazil, compared to America, but they have some very similarities. One difference that Fernando had mentioned to me was in Brazil, you learn at a lot slower pace and at a lot lower level. He said here in America, and I quote, that teachers actually believe in you, that they know you can do it, and they're encouraging you, and that's just something that really stuck out to me, and it made me really happy and wanted to live up to that you need to believe in your students and you need to be helping them out as well. I learned that culture in Brazil is very different, and it can come as a culture shock to move to America from Brazil. I learned that there are so many different ways to accommodate for these diverse students. And lastly, just being kind and showing that you care goes a super long way for these students. Fernando had just mentioned to me many times that throughout the interview that he had great friends, and because of that, his transition was easy. He didn't feel alone. He felt happy. He always felt like there was help available to him. So just being kind and showing acceptance to these students, whether you're a teacher or whether you're just a person on the street, can go a super long way. So this is my presentation. I learned a lot from this, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity to have interviewed Fernando and just to kind of put myself in a new situation to learn more and grow as a future educator. So yeah.